Hi everybody, my name is Sherry. Welcome to my stamp studio. I am busily pre-recording a bunch of stuff. My daughter gets married on February 24th. So from Valentine's Day until about the 27th, I won't be in my studio. So if you try to reach me about the 28th, I will be getting back to everybody. Unless it's something severely urgent, I would wait because I get so many emails, business ones, but then also, just all the stuff. And sometimes emails get lost if you email me or contact me at the beginning of a vacation as opposed to the end. So if you wait till about the 25th, if you have any questions, and then let me know. But that does put us right at the end of celebration. I will have a wedding special, so be watching. I haven't done it yet, so I have no idea what it's going to be, but it may go with this card because I will have these pre-ready to go with a matching email. So it maybe with today's card because it has kind of a wedding feel to it. But at the end of celebration, then that's the last day of February. You can't get any more of the free things. You can't get my February add-on gifts. So make sure that you're on my email list. These are all things that I have posted in case you've missed them. A lot of celebration things are on here. So this has the dogwood, that's a celebration. It has a ribbon that is part of the online exclusives, which is what I'm showing you today. We have lots of online exclusive sneak peeks, on today's. This is celebration paper. So if you want to get the paper, the stamp set and the dies will stay. Sometimes that confuses people. Here's another celebration stamp set. I did this one way back at the start of celebration. Then this is for my card club. Card club for February is full, done, dusted. In fact, the projects are done and 3/4 of the way cut. Because normally it's out by the 26th. So I want to have it done. So after the wedding, the first thing we're doing on the 27th, 28th is getting the card club in the mail. First time I've ever missed it. But, hopefully my daughter only gets married once. So it's a once in a lifetime thing that I'm taking off time for. And then this is just another one these are both from the January mini catalog. That goes through the end of April. So one thing I do want to mention is that in colors that end in 24 will be gone at the end of April. So if you need refills, cardstock, any of that stuff to go with colors that you have that are the 2022, 2024 in colors, those will retire. So for today, I'm going to use soft sea foam. I never use soft sea foam. I don't know why. It's a beautiful color, but see, it doesn't have a spring. I'm going to say it has a wedding color tone, not my daughter's. Not anywhere close to her colors. And after the wedding, you can see some pictures. So I'm going to fold my seafoam in half. This will be my card base. And then the first thing, that's an online exclusive. So these start on March 5th. If you are a customer, if you're a demonstrator, you can pre-order them now. If you want to take advantage of the Stampin' Up! Special to join during celebration, then you can add any of this stuff to your starter kit. And all that information is on my website. I don't want to take time in this particular video to talk about it. My hope is that before the end of the month, I do get one more of those videos up, but we'll see. So this is a 4 by 5 1/4 piece of vanilla cardstock. This is all the stuff that's going to be on this, just these 3 pieces of paper. So vanilla and soft sea foam. And I'm going to take my stamp. You don't have to put it on a block. This one, I thought it would do better on a block. If you still have a Stamparatus, you can use that. You can just use it in the case. I'm going to ink it with Bubble Bath, which is one of our new colors. That's not even new anymore because it's almost time for a new catalog. That will come out at the start of May. So I've inked that in Bubble Bath, and I'm just going to take my paper, and I want these dots to go a little bit off the top. So I'm going to put it about right here, and then just don't move it. And then I'm going to get our new brayer, and just to make sure that it gets everywhere, I'm just going to hold it in place. So I got that top bit, get this bottom bit down here. Isn't that pretty? I thought about doing more than one color, but my goal with this card was to kind of keep it light and simple. So this is called Drizzling Droplets, and it will be available in March, early March. So, and by then I'll be back to work for a little bit because then I go to Houston for a Stampin' Up! Trip. But I will remind you when all of this is available. Now I'm going to add just a scrap piece of vanilla, and I'm going to use Magnolia Mood. So you can see this is a really light stippled kind of art. So I didn't want to do it in black. I wanted, like I said, I was trying to keep the card light and airy. So here's the stamps. I love that it has a happy birthday. It's always good when you get a happy birthday in your set. And then I want to show you the dies, because at first I was going to use some of these and do them in gold or maybe crumb cake and get a lot on the card. And then I was like, no, you're keeping it simple. But I do want to show you this one because I had thought that maybe I could get it to work. So see this die? It does this. So you could do really the same card I just did. And if you don't want to color it, you could do this and put it on there. But the two large magnolias, I wasn't liking the way they both look on the card. But that's what this one does. And I will do a card with it in March at some point that uses this die. It's beautiful. And you can see then there's a smaller one and some leaves that go with. The only die I'm using for this card today is this one right here. And it will cut out this image. So we're going to stamp our Magnolia on this piece of vanilla. Hopefully it's big enough it's a scrap. I'm going to use gray granite because I want it to be soft. I felt like if I used black, it would overwhelm the card. And I want to keep it light and airy and springy. And so this gray granite should do that. Gray granite is a light gray with a tinge of kind of crumb cake to it. So you want to make sure that you press everywhere because it's a big stamp. Just press on all the parts. And look how beautiful. After I stamped it, then I thought, well, I really just could kind of do a vanilla card with a little highlights. It would be very pretty. And then you could do the dies like maybe in some gold and add those behind. But I did want to color it, and I'm just going to add a little bit of color. You can see I don't use it very often. I had to re-ink it. Like one of these that's working better than the other one's almost gone. So when you use, I'm going to use a Wink of Stella because the gray granite is not waterproof, right? So if we use water or if we use a blender pen and you rub too much, you're going to rub away. And I want you to see again how beautiful that is, some of that beautiful stippling. So using the Wink of Stella, we'll get the color on there quickly. And I'm just going to kind of brush it with the lines. And because the colors are light, it's not gonna, the design will show under. So I'm just gonna brush this on here like this. Kind of go with the direction of the ink. That way if any of it does smear slightly, all the granite will do is kind of shade the sea foam. So there's that one. Let me finish the rest of the leaves. All right, so I finished coloring the leaves. Now let's go to the magnolias. I'm not 100% sure what magnolias are colored because I live in the Midwest. And we have a beautiful magnolia tree that I bought for like $1.50 when we moved into our house more than 20 years ago. And it's since grown into a giant tree. But our fake spring gets it every year. So it starts to bloom. And then we have our winter come back. This is the wrong color. And when winter comes back, it kills all of the flowers. So then when they bloom, they're all brown and half dead. Sometimes they bloom more and then it looks like dead lettuce. So, you know, the joy of trying to have a southern plant up here in the Midwest. Now I'm going to use Bubble Bath, which is one of our new colors that's not new anymore. You want to make sure that you rub off that color. And for this one, this time I'm just going to kind of go around. So just add a little hints of, I'm going to kind of follow the shading on the stamps, but not all the way. I'm going to more do each petal. So each petal has some pink kind of around the edges. So it still stays vanilla on the inside. And then we'll add the little bit of brown that I'm not sure if that's a magnolia color, but it looks pretty. It looks prettier on here than it does when it kills when mine are dead. I mean, I remember a few years ago we had that beautiful magnolia sweet. And I took a picture of the tree as it was blooming too early. And then a couple days later, yeah, dead. It looks great during the summer. And then sometimes like mid-July when it's super hot, we'll get one random bloom. So I always hope that if that happens, it happens low enough that I can enjoy it. So you can see I'm just kind of giving each of the petals their definition with some of the bubble bath. So it gives a pink tinge, but it doesn't make my flower look like it's a pink flower. Do the same on these over here. And really concentrate on just each petal, because it will help the colors kind of hold their own and not make it look like you just brushed pink all over the whole thing, which you could if that's the look you're going for. It's not the look I'm going for in this one. Now for this one, I'm just going to kind of clean my brush off on the actual design. Now I'm going to do crumb cake. So for crumb cake, the first thing we want to hit is the center here. And I'm going to kind of dab. Again, remember the granite will smear if you get it too wet, and then keep going. Now for this, I am going to go back, and I'm not going to hit all of them, but some of the places where it's shaded. And because it was already wet once, I'm being more careful and more intentional with just kind of blobbing it on here and not brushing. You can watercolor with most of our inks. You just have to be careful and just kind of think about what you're doing. Again, I'm doing each petal on its own, so I make sure that they all have different amounts. This one right here, I'm going to do a little bit less. A little bit up on these. It's a super easy way to learn how to watercolor. And then it's pretty good, just like that. But I wanted the center to kind of stand out a little bit more. So I'm going to take my early espresso, but remember, we're going for light and airy. So I am not going to brush a lot of this on here. I'm going to grab a little piece where there's just a little bit of espresso. And then I'm just going to kind of dab this on here. And then I've still got a little bit on my brush, these places where it's a tad bit darker, right here where there's no really ink. I'll get that, and we'll start with it in the center where I want it to be darker. These parts where it's got more stippling and more shading. And now that's it for the coloring. Isn't it so pretty? And it's so easy to do. Now I'm just going to take and get my brush kind of wiped off and kind of fill in, now that it doesn't have color on it, the insides of the petals so they're all sparkly. Because otherwise the only part of the flower that isn't sparkly would be the stems and then the inside of the flower, because we did the leaves and everything. So now I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it through my cut and emboss machine. Let's get our background back. And I pulled out the saying. It says just a note to let you know that you are loved. So we'll go back to our gray granite. And I did kind of mess around, because this is one of those stamps that if you stick it on here and you're like, especially if you're like me and you don't use the stickers, but even if you get your stickers on a little bit crooked, I don't use mine because I stamp so much every day, and it's just faster for me to take them off without the stickers. And then I resell 95, 98% of my stamps. So that way it's up to the person who's going to be their forever owner, whether or not they keep them. But what I do, and there's other videos where I've shown you this, because you can do it on any lined paper. So notebook paper or grid paper, or if you have the glass mat, it works really well in the glass mat. So I put the stamp on here, and you can see, maybe, see the line. I made sure that my block's not straight. Let's straighten my block up. So I put my block straight on a line like this, which would be the bottom of your paper. And then I can see on another line if it's straight. It's not 100% straight, but it was good enough for this card. So now, because I have two lines, I know if I put this lined up, either with the bottom of my paper, and this one might need to go a little bit lower. Back of this card's going to be dirty now. So I'm going to line this up. Yeah, we'll do it there. So now my paper's on a line, and if you want, you can use a Post-it note. You could use a little bit of seal And then I'm going to match this to the little scratchy line that's underneath it. And there it's pretty straight. This is still a little bit high, and it could be because I bent my stamp when I was pressing it down, but I'm okay with it. And you'll see when it gets on the card that it's good. So now we have a couple more online exclusives. This will also come out in March. And it is natural, probably dotted ribbon, polka dot trim. I was going to put a bow, but I was trying to keep it soft, and this is kind of a heavy ribbon. So I just thought it was pretty, and it just kind of matches the polka dots. It kind of goes with the granite. But because it's heavy, I'm going to use Seal Plus. So I'm just going to put one little roll of Seal Plus right there. It reminds me of spring and the birds out there building their nests. They're all here. Fake spring has sucked them right into it too. So originally, you know, when you plan a February wedding and you live in places where it can snow, we worried about snow. My daughter kind of wanted snow because she wanted snow pictures. She's getting married in downtown Indianapolis. So most of it would have been scraped away if there was snow. But last week it said that the extended forecast made it look like maybe it was going to be around the high 30s, which we can live with that. 40s, and you live in the Midwest and you don't wear your coat anymore. Let me grab some dimensionals and pop this on. But I looked yesterday and it said 62. So who knows? It could be warmer than my nephew who got married in September. His wedding in the morning was freezing. It did end up being a beautiful day. So I'm going to add some dimensionals. This card couldn't be any simpler. Just kind of put this on here like that. And then I also am going to use these. Now these are going to be online exclusives, and they are part of the Latte series. So I know sometimes people are they have an aversion to whatever the whole of a page is, Halloween or Valentine's or Easter. And so you don't look at any of the stuff. These are part of the latte thing. So if you're a tea drinker or you don't drink any kind of hot drinks, I have a latte every single solitary day. But we have a barista. I have a barista. It's my husband, and we have a Breville machine. So it's real. But I love lattes. So, of course, I want all of it. But look how cute they are. It doesn't have to be a coffee card that you're putting it on. Obviously, we're putting them on here. So they are called Adhesive Back Swirled Dots. Again, another online exclusive available in March. And I'm just going to, I thought about using this color. And after I saw them, then I kind of wish that instead of Bubble Bath, I had used... maybe, I don't know what that is. Maybe blushing. No, we don't have blushing bright. Petal pink. It's probably petal pink. I'm just going to add 3. I would add 5, except this is all I have until when demonstrators pre-order, we can it's limited quantities. I think I could get one more of these, but at this point, I only have this one. I'm going to put them in my plastic sleeve. I don't like sticking them back in the things like that. Isn't that fun? Here's my other one. See, this one was a little high up because I did line it with the bottom of the paper technique to get my sentiment straight, and it went a little bit high. So this one I remembered to kind of squish it down and use the lines on my board as opposed to the bottom of the paper. So just make sure that you stamp where you stamp. You have some note paper, grid paper, one of these. There you go. So I will catch you back. Be watching for my wedding special. I don't have any idea yet what it's going to be, but I'll come up with something. I do have not as many videos, tutorials for you over the next 2 weeks as I normally would. Normally I would do 3 or 4 in a week, and I'll probably have 4 over the 2 weeks stretch, but I'm doing the best I can. Everybody have a great day. Bye.